Now 4-0 in that game. I think it's fair to say that was a game that actually coming into it, given that the Liverpool-Everton game didn't really go quite as planned, and it was a bit of a, it felt like a bit of a training match, as you said. It lacked the intensity of a derby, no doubt about it. So to come up against a Palace side that defensively at least were in decent form, pre-break and coming back looked reasonably solid, to put on a show like that and win 4-0, I thought Liverpool played very, very well. What does this mean, though? The question I guess a lot of FPL managers are talking about now is what that means for Liverpool assets going forward. So let's break it down into... I'm not going to talk about the goalkeeper because I think Alisson is going to play. I don't see that Adrian gets any minutes. The one thing I haven't seen is whether Adrian needs any minutes to get a medal.
I was just going to ask you that. So
I don't know.
How many starts has... No, because Alisson missed all those games at the beginning of the season when he was injured, didn't he?
I think Adrian has played enough games and enough minutes to warrant a medal. You don't need to look it up, but I think Adrian will get the medal. And so on that basis, I don't think we need to talk about the keeper. But from a defensive perspective, and let's go defence, midfield, forwards then. From a defensive perspective, what do you think this means for the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson?
Well, you tell me,
Joe
really,
Gomez?
because you're the Liverpool you're the Liverpool resident. Because for me, I'll give you my opinion, but then you can tell me whether you think I'm right or not.
I'd love to hear it from you guys as well. If you're in the live chat, let us know in the live chat what you're going to be doing with your Liverpool asset. And if you're watching the replay of this video, get in the live comments below. I want to know what you guys are doing with your Liverpool assets, in particular Salah and Salah. I said that before. I've done that loads of times. Salah and Mané. And those of you that have got Firmino, I'd love to know what you're doing. But defensively... We've seen Nico Williams come on for what was a pretty good cameo, actually, in that Crystal Palace game. Had a couple of shots on target as well. Bombed forward in a very Trent-esque way. Actually, I might even go as far as to say a little bit more direct than Trent in terms of attacking that corner of the box. And that's his style, Nico Williams. I think he's a good right-back. I haven't seen enough of him to know how good a defender he is. But whenever I've seen him, he gets forward like you wouldn't believe. We've got another good right-back in the squad, in the ranks, in the youth team called his name is Larouci, I think his name is. He's pretty good as well. Nathaniel Klein looks like he's on the way out, so I don't think he's going to get any more minutes. So I think it's between Trent and Nico Williams for minutes between now and the end of the season. Now, of course, I expect Trent to get most of those. But do you think we will see Nico Williams coming on at the end of games? And actually... does that make Trent a better option? Because he's going to play somewhere between 60 and 70 minutes and the clean sheet's going to get locked in quicker.
Yeah. I don't know. You're the best person to judge this. But for me, I'm not taking Trent out of my team. I don't think that I don't think Liverpool lift the title and that means Trent doesn't start.
Yeah. What do you think the mentality... What do you think Klopp's mentality is then? So are Liverpool going for the points or are we satisfied? How do you think this is going to play out?
Again, you know this better than me, but I don't think Klopp is ever satisfied. I don't think he's that sort of man. I don't think he ever goes, all right, lads, you've won it now. Let's all sit on the beach. I just don't think that's him.
It's not. And he talks about rhythm and he talks about that momentum a lot in terms of getting the team playing and winning becoming a habit. Now, my thinking on it is that if we were to take these games lightly between now and the end of the season... and he started playing completely different 11s, we would lose a lot of that momentum and we would lose that winning habit. Now, you could say that over the coronavirus break, everybody lost momentum and then we came back and all right, the Everton game wasn't great, but we've got straight back into our stride against Crystal Palace.
But you had a lot to fight for.
But we've got a lot to fight for. So given that we haven't got that much time between the end of this season and the start of next, we've got to wait to see that, of course, but we don't think there's going to be much space in terms of pre-season, if you want to call it that. And of course, there are a lot of teams that are going to be playing in the Champions League. So there's a lot of teams that are going to have that momentum throughout the summer.
Yes.
Now, whether that will affect their legs in January, February, maybe it will. But those teams that are playing in that mini Champions League tournament, the likes of Man City, who obviously Klopp will have his eye on clearly for next season, because of course they always do have their eye on each other, Klopp and Pep.
And of course the likes of Man City and Manchester United and Chelsea have all progressed to the next round of the FA Cup, and so they will play for a bit longer. Yeah. Obviously, the final being at the end of the season, the beginning of August, I think, isn't it, the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
So that's going to keep those sides that are going to be in competition with you next year playing for a bit longer.
So at the end of these 9 games, Liverpool are done. Yeah. Whereas there's a lot of other clubs that Klopp will have his eye on for next season that have additional games, either in Cup or European competitions. And on that basis, I think Klopp will want to keep that momentum going, and he'll want to set up a couple of friendlies in that period of time between the end of the season and the start of next. Now, the players have had enough time. We've had enough time off with the coronavirus break. The longest time we've ever had off. So I don't think Klopp is going to say, right, stop, and then we'll have 2 weeks off and then go again. I think they'll be back in light training straight after the end of the last game.
Yeah, I mean, they know they will be able to, but they're unlikely to go on massive holidays this year either. Like, a lot of the time they get holiday time and they go off with their families. They're unlikely to get that this year because there just isn't, the world isn't in that kind of place right now where you're going to go, where they're likely to go on a massive holiday. I tend to agree with you. I mean, I don't see Klopp as being the sort of manager that is okay with just it ending. I feel like this has been the best season I've ever watched from Liverpool, including last season when they were really unlucky. This has been the best Liverpool side I've ever watched, and I think he is that kind of manager that will want to continue to play at their best.
Yeah. Having said all of that in terms of momentum and rhythm, Klopp is not going to risk players if they've got even the slightest little niggle.
We saw that, right?
Because we've seen it.
Salah.
We've seen it. As, Salah and Robertson both came into that first Everton game with, we've got a little bit of something going on in our legs, and Salah was on the bench, right? But it didn't keep them out. Of course, Salah and Robertson both then came back and started in the Crystal Palace match. So even if there is even a hint of anything in any of their muscles, they are not going to start, and they probably will be left out and left at Melwood to continue training. So on that basis, I don't think we'll see wholesale changes, but we will see some changes from Klopp.
But are you expecting rotation as opposed to out altogether? So you wouldn't expect necessarily Williams to start over Trent. You would expect Trent to start and then Williams to come on. Yeah, so
let's get into it. And so Trent, I think you keep him, right? I think you keep him. I don't think you sell him at all, because when he does play, clearly he can do what he did against Crystal Palace, open the scoring with an absolutely fantastic free kick. So Trent is Trent. I don't know what his price is going to be in FPL next year, but it would not surprise me to see him match Leighton Baines' record for a defender at 8 million. Wouldn't surprise me to see him at 8.5.
When I did the show with David on Friday, he was saying, Monday, he was saying that actually what they tend to do is they like to go up from where the player ends the season now. Yeah. So the logical step is to be at 8, because that's up from where he is now without being excessively up from where he is now. Doesn't make sense. I think
you keep and you play Trent. I think that's no problem at all. With Robertson, that's an interesting one, because there isn't really anybody else at left back. We've got a whole sleuth of very, very good young right backs, but left back is a bit of a funny position for us. Robbo is there. Of course, Milner can play there. We've seen that. But Milner is, of course, the sort of player that he's going to want to protect and look after his muscles and all the rest of it. I think we've got at least one more season out of Milner. I think he's got next.
How old is Milner?
Well, he's mid-30s, right? So he should be thinking about,
retirement.
Playing for, the Premier League champions.
28, 29.
A team that plays very high-intensity football week in, week out. James Milner, frankly, is a machine that he keeps going. But I do think we'll get one more season out of him, but probably with reduced minutes. Now, he's the only one really that can step in at left-back.
Right.
So Robbo, I think, is... I'm going to say he's nailed on, but I expect him to see a fair amount of minutes between now and the end of the season.
But you can't really change your shape, can you? You don't ever really play with just 3 at the back. Not really.
It's normally 4, yeah. It's normally the 4. And I think Van Dijk, will play. I don't think there's any danger of that. We've got some very good young players. We've got Yankee Hoeva, and we've got the guy Sepp Vandenberg as well. Some very young... These guys are like teenagers, right? But they're very talented players. But I don't see that he doesn't give Virgil the minutes. Virgil will get the minutes. The interesting one for me is Matip versus Gomez. Now, we saw in the Merseyside derby Matip start but get the injury, so Gomez had to come on, but at the time he had to shift out to the left or something, didn't he? Because there was all sorts of injuries going on in that game. But then in the Crystal Palace game, whether Matip was fit or not was questionable, but Gomez got the start. Now, but by the way, a good stat for you, Virgil and Gomez haven't lost a game whenever they've started at centre-half.
Oh,
those two. They've never lost a Premier League game. So
ever? Not just this season,
whenever they've started together, they've never lost a Premier League game.
Wow, what's that?
And Gomez is, he's heir to the throne. I mean, he's a fantastic player, and he's got, as you saw when he played at right back for a little while, or left back in the Everton game, he was bombing up and down, and the pace of the guy is unbelievable. So therefore, his recovery pace is very, very good.
He'll probably be your next captain when Henderson's not there.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't really know who the next captain would be. He's probably in with a shout, to be fair. But I think he and Virgil are first choice. So if you want to go... Gomez.
Virgil I meant as the captain.
Oh, you think Virgil? Yeah, for sure. So I've got Gomez in my team right now, and I think I'm pretty happy to keep. He's about 5.2 selling price for me. So
you're happy to have to double up at Liverpool defence, even though you're done?
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy to keep the double up in defence. I think so. Moving on to midfield, this is where it gets a bit more interesting because obviously this is where we've got a lot of our FPL's pounds spent in terms of Mané and Salah. That midfield three is an interesting triangle as well because I would ordinarily say don't go near Fabinho, but what an absolute screamer he scored against Crystal Palace is unbelievable. But I don't see him as a key FPL. That's a good idea. A key FPL asset for us to look at.
Thanks.
Gini Wijnaldum, of course, can get goals, and we know that, and he's reasonably cheap compared to the others. And Henderson, of course, ditto, I would say. But none of us really look at those guys as kind of must-haves in FPL.
No.
Interestingly, Keita, I think, will get minutes between now and the end of the season as well. He is one that I do think will come in and get quite a few minutes. Him and Minamino, in particular, in midfield, will see minutes. Klopp is absolutely desperate to get Keita fit and firing and running on all cylinders because there is a real player in there, but he needs some consistency and some game time. And what better time to give it to him than now?
Okay, so Keita and Minamino, then whose places do they? Who is in their current? Who is in their?
Well, I think given the league's one, I don't think it really matters. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Keita would come in for probably Wijnaldum or maybe Henderson, or Henderson could drop back into the Fabinho position so that Keita can play. So I expect a lot of rotation in that midfield three.
All right, so let's talk about the Golden Boot then, because obviously the Golden Boot race is still on. Vardy is not. I cannot see Vardy wins this.
Do you know Vardy hasn't scored against a Premier League team other than Aston Villa since Christmas Day?
You said that to me earlier.
Unbelievable stat, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But equally, watching him today, I'm not surprised.
But there's something about, and we'll talk about Leicester in a minute in the race for fourth, but there's all that creativity behind him seems to have gone. It seems to have disappeared, and Vardy's not getting the service anymore.
No, and I think, so he's at the top of the Golden Boot race at the moment, followed by Danny Ings, who's next. And then obviously we get into the Salah and Mané territory. Now, we talked on the FPL show on Friday about how actually Salah and Mané, obviously they shared the Golden Boot last year and shared it with Aubameyang. Now, Salah particularly, Mané a little bit, will have hated sharing that boot because Salah is that sort of player, isn't he? He will have hated.
They would have both hated sharing it with Aubameyang,
and they would have hated
sharing it with each other.
And so in my mind, I own Salah. Very, very happy to own Salah, and as a non-Liverpool fan, I cannot see me taking him out of my team. And I saw a lot of chatter last week amongst the Instagram community mostly about people taking Salah out of their teams. And I remember coming to you and going, am I missing something?
Yeah.
Because everyone's taking Salah out. Have I missed something here? Because the way I see it, your champions, you could finish on the most points ever scored. He can win the Golden Boot, and he wants to beat Mané more than anything in the world. I'm almost certain of that.
If there's one thing we know about Salah as well, he's selfish, right? He loves a shot. He loves to be the guy that gets the goals.
Yeah.
And now there's less repercussions for missing, if you know what I mean. So if we are 0-0 against Man City in the last 5 minutes, and Salah takes a shot rather than squares it for a tap in to Firmino, we will all go, "What are you doing, Salah? Give it a bobby." But it won't be like, "Oh, it's cost us the league." But no one's going to be that upset.
And also,
so he'll always shoot.
And also, nobody's there in the stadium to give him that grief.
Yes, true.
Do you know what I mean? There's no pressure from the fans in the crowd. So Klopp might look at him and go, "Salah."
Yeah, we might all go, "What are you doing?"
The rest of the team might go, "For God's sake, pass me the ball." But nobody's actually going to give him. He's not going to hear that abuse from the crowd. He's not going to hear the crowd go, "Oh," complain. So.
Wasn't he good against Palace as well?
Yeah, but I mean, he's probably gonna be a frustrating own because all of these shots that I think he's gonna have are probably gonna mean that unless he gets a bit more accurate and scores a few more of them, he won't get bonus points because it's likely to be missed opportunities that see him out of the bonus points, as we saw against Crystal Palace last week. But I just think that the push for the highest points record ever, the push for the Golden Boot, the push to beat Mané, will be enough that Salah is just...
So you've got Salah you're going to keep?
I am, yeah.
If you had Mané, would you keep?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would too. Nice comment from Joville in the chat. Thank you, Joville. He's saying Curtis Jones is a player I missed. He's another one that's going to come into that midfield three and mix it up. Nico Williams, who's the right back we mentioned before, and Harvey Elliott, of course, who's the 17-year-old wonder kid that we picked up from Fulham. He can play across that front three. All need 4 matches to receive the medal.
Right. But they don't need to play 4 matches. They just need to get minutes in those matches.
Minutes in matches, yeah.
We know that will happen because of the 5 substitutions.
Yeah.
Origi's another one that we should throw in there for minutes versus Firmino. Yeah. But do you see them starting, or do you just see that the main team start to keep the your momentum going, as we talked about before, into next season and to get the points tied up. And then these guys come on for half an hour, even at half time. We know that the half time thing, it doesn't matter about your substitution bracket anymore.
Yeah.
So that you could make 4 sets of changes rather than 3.
Depends on the opposition, I think.
Yeah.
I think against Man City, he's going to want to go out there. And that is why, guys, and those of you that have seen my FPL team for this week will know I've captained Salah this week. It's very, very much heart over head. Very much. Although my head was saying Jimenez, by the way.
Which my head was saying.
Or Rashford. But my heart was saying Salah. And one of the reasons I think that is because I do think Klopp will get them fired up. I think he'll be sitting in that dressing room. They've got the guard of honour. By the way, City won't want us to win.
Socially distanced guard. I said it on the FPL show. I think that's real high score in that game.
Potentially, because City won't want us to go there and beat them 2-3-0. They won't, and they won't allow that. But equally, Klopp will be in that dressing room saying, "You're champions. Go show the world why you're champions, and go out there and play with freedom and just play as you want to play."
Particularly as you, I mean, I know you have won it, but you didn't win it. Chelsea stopped them winning it. So you haven't yet played as champions. So this is the moment for Liverpool to come out and go, "Here we are, we're the champions." And
so
which
is the stronger emotion then? Is it Liverpool showing the world we're champions, or is it Man City saying, "No, you bloody not"?
I think it's going to be brilliant. I mean, as a neutral,
I think it'd be a great game, honestly.
As a neutral, I mean, I'm not really a neutral, am I? But as a neutral, I am buzzing for that game. I think it will be brilliant. I think that's the sort of game where there's just going to be goals. There's going to be goals in that game because both sides are going to want to go out. You're going to want to go out and say, "Hey, look at us, we're the new champions," and they're going to want to come out and go, "Not in my backyard, you're not."
Absolutely, yeah, especially as it's at the Etihad. That is absolutely right. Yeah. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. So Claire Hamley, thank you, Claire, for the comment. She's saying, I don't think Harvey Elliott is that good. I've watched him play multiple times. He hasn't even scored.
Is Harvey Elliott the guy with the ponytail?
Yeah, he's ponytail. So I kind of agree, Claire. I don't know if he's had much of an impact in those Premier League games yet, but the kid is 17. You've got to give him a chance. And for a player coming into that Liverpool team, surrounded by world-class players, to come in at 17 and even look the part in the first 11 is something. He's one to watch for the future, Claire. Keep your eyes out on him. Azzy, hey Azzy, how are we doing? He's saying Salah to take Milner's penalties. Yes, would expect that, particularly as the golden boot thing kicks in. Salah will be absolutely gagging to take those penalties. He will be like yes,
the seagulls in, what film is it?
Finding Nemo.
Mine.
That's the most random reference of this evening. There we go. So yes, Azzy, Salah absolutely to take Milner's penalties, particularly as I expect Milner's minutes to be managed. He's getting on a bit, bless him.
He's the same age as us.
I know. Well, tell me about it. What else are you guys saying?
Getting on a bit. Speak for yourself.
Tell me about it. Daniel Bredborough, Danny Ings to be a 12 million striker next year.
Stop it about Danny Ings. Do we have to talk about Danny Ings anymore?
Yes, I'm afraid, Sam.
He
and FPL
is on my wanted list.
Let's see what you guys are saying. Anwanit, hey Anwanit, how are we doing? Very nice to see you. Salah is selfish, yet almost has more assists than Mané. Yeah, so this, I don't know whether this thing still exists about this Salah selfish thing and not passing to Mané. I think that was a bit last season. I kind of feel like that's gone away.
How many of those assisted to Mané?
I don't know.
And how many of them are free kicks, one and that Trent takes?
I don't know. Milan Milic is saying, I've also got Salah captain this week, but it's Mané that always shows up in the big games. Yeah, absolutely.
I do genuinely think we're going to see Salah magic this week, and I have not captained him.
I hope you're right. You're right.
Again.
Abdullah Mohammed is saying, I sold Salah to Son this week. I needed the cash. Wanted some City players in these nice games, but he sold Salah to Son. Interesting. There we go. And Pedro Duro is saying City 2, Liverpool 4. Is what he reckons is the score in that game.
I could see that.
No chance we can see 2.
I can see a 3-2, 4-2.
Well, you could be right.
3-all.
You could be right. Well, listen, that's enough about Liverpool. I wanted to get a bit of a segment out there, not least because I wanted to celebrate the fact that we are the new Premier League champions.
Oh, really?
Not that I've mentioned that much, but I just wanted to give you guys a feel for how I'm thinking. And to be honest, I think Jovial's point that he made in the live chat is absolutely spot on. There's 3 players there that need minutes to get that medal. Klopp is all about inclusivity, inclusion.
He gave one of the minutes, didn't he? On when did you play? Wednesday.
Yeah, Nico came on, didn't he? Yeah. And Harvey Elliott came on as well. Yeah. So we're gonna see that. But should that mean you sell Trent in your FPL team? No. Should it mean if Harvey Elliott's going to get minutes and Minamino's going to get minutes, does that mean you should sell Salah? No. I think keep all your big Liverpool players. Just expect them to have reduced minutes. Yeah. But in those reduced minutes, they can still do damage. And that means in the next game, they've only got 60 minutes in their legs rather than 90, so they're potentially fresher. I think it's fine. I think you're fine. Keep all your Liverpool
And look,
players.
let's be honest, Klopp's not a troll. He has to keep everyone on for 60 minutes
You're
and then
probably
take them
right.
off.
You're probably right.